Welcome back to DAGryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. Today I've got a bit of a lack of progress update for you. I had hoped that by this point I would have some sort of update on the layout expansion, but I really don't. I've laid some stuff out to try to get a feel for what I want to do, but I guess I've been too busy. I was away for a week for vacation, and it's just been super hot, and my tiny AC can't keep up with the heat in the garage, and it's just way too uncomfortable to be out here working. I'm actually surprised I'm out here right now. For the layout expansion, I laid out a very rough outer two loops. I really want to bring the inner loop down to the same level as the outer loop so that it looks more like a dual track mainline. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do that. I feel like it might bother me more having an incline decline than having two tracks that are slightly different height. I mean, the one scene that I want to work on the expansion, I think would make a lot more sense with the tracks at the same level. Worst case scenario, I'll add the incline decline and I'll just have to get more trains with cruise control. Sounds like a fair compromise if you ask me. Beyond that, I haven't done much with the space. I want to, or have thought of, including a trolley line. I was starting out with a point-to-point trolley line. We're not talking that long. But then I was thinking, maybe a small oval would make more sense. As you can see, no decisions have been made. Maybe it's just too hot and my brain has stopped working. But on one hand, I would love the ability to run trolleys through a populated area. On the other hand, I like the idea of not having too much track. I want the trains to be going through a landscape, not for it to look like a yard everywhere it goes. This is where my planning tends to fall apart. I do think I know the size of the tables, and I don't think that would change. So I might just have to go ahead and start building and then adapt to that space as I go. The only known really is that the two main loops will be going through there. Everything else is up in the air and can be decided as I go. This is what it looks like at the moment. I mean, it's very rough. I mean, I have a 4x8 sheet, a 2x8 sheet, and then an open space. And I mean, I could probably sit here and move everything a half inch this way and a half inch that way, but really none of it's going to matter until I actually start making things permanent. Maybe it's not the planning that's my problem, but the transition from planning to actually building. I tend to get lost and I second guess myself a lot. So what I'm thinking of doing is just starting the build for the table, at least for that main section in front of you, the 4x8 section. I do want to do it a little differently. I want to bring the table height down maybe 4 inches. That way the track will be 4 inches above the surface, which will enable me to do a couple of different things that I haven't been able to do on the main part of the layout. I had started thinking about that because if I have a city and there are streets and I want the streets to cross the tracks, I don't want to end up with a bunch of crossings. So I figured what might be neat would be a tunnel under the track. But to do that, the track's got to be up so that I can make the tunnel down. Whether I build the whole table as an open grid and build it lower than the rest of the layout, and then support the sub roadbed with plywood or wood strips, or if I just make the table lower and then stack some foam 4 inches high to put the track on top of it. There are a couple different ways I could do it, and again, it's one of those things I just can't seem to make my mind up on. On the left side of the screen is the grain elevator. I'm hoping I can kind of squeeze that in there with the siding. Doesn't need an actual switch to actually to move trains off the main line, it would be neat. I'm interested in the new Menards switches, but I understand they're sold out. I do hope to be able to actually get to a Menards in the next couple weeks, so we'll see what happens there. I'm also still pretty set on using the Menards bridge over there by the air conditioner. I think that will be a pretty cool spot for it. I've thought of using one of those Lionel girder bridges on either side of it to kind of increase the span. I've been thinking about this space, this aisle in between the two sections of the layout. It might be a lot of fun to landscape it all the way down to the floor. Might make it look like a really, big gorge, valley, whatever. I think that would be really neat. Whether or not I'll do it, it's one of those projects that would take a backseat to actually maybe getting some trees on the layout. Another thing I've been thinking about is what happens to this mountain right here, where the tunnel is for the two outer loops. The outermost loop is definitely just going to go straight across to the expansion. This inner loop, I'm wondering if I could maybe even use a switch here and have the track either go through the mountain as it's going now or across to the other side of the layout. If I do remove both of those loops from that tunnel, what becomes of that space? Maybe I would just change the profile of that part of the mountain. Something else that's been a hindrance to working on the trains is stuff like this. That's the trunk lid to my Mustang. To my right are the two rear tires and the tail lights, and then on the other side of the camera is the rear bumper. I've started working on that, and you start to realize how little time you have to work on projects. I've been working only on the trains for 3-4 years now, so the Mustang's sadly overdue for some serious work. Of course, the more I look at it, the more rust I find, so I should probably stop looking, put it back together, and just drive it until it dies, but I'm going to try to fix some stuff in the meantime. I don't think that will get in the way of doing videos. If anything's getting in the way of doing videos, it's just my drive to do them. I'll be honest, I've been feeling a little out of touch, not as interested, in a lull. I'm excited about the expansion, but I think until I actually start it, I kind of almost need a break. It's a horrible thing to say. But let's segue from that, needing a break, into what's going on in the near future. If I remember correctly, this weekend coming up is the Greenberg show in Oaks, PA. I feel like I haven't been to a train show in a long time. Maybe that's why I'm feeling a little bit out of it. So hopefully I get to that. Then the next weekend, the 18th, 19th, 20th, I'll be heading out to Detroit for the Trainapalooza event, held by the Detroit Three-Railers. I am super excited to have been invited to that, and I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend, and hopefully I'll end up with a ridiculous amount of video to share with you guys. If nothing else, I'm hoping to stop at a Menards on the way out there in the Ohio, Michigan, I don't really know much about that part of the country, so I'll look it up and plan. So if anybody knows of any good hobby shops I should stop at that I might cross while I'm traveling from New Jersey to Detroit, Michigan, let me know in the comments. I would love some places to visit along the way, because who doesn't love a good train shop road trip? Other than those things, I'm hoping I can get myself together and sell some trains. I don't need or use some of the stuff that I've collected over the years, and I feel like I should pass some stuff on to others. Also, there are some car parts I want, and I can sell like $400 or $500 worth of trains. I might be able to get those car parts, and I think that might be healthy for me because I haven't been working on my cars and I really enjoy doing it. But you know what? I'll probably just end up spending that money on trains. I'm trying to convince myself to sell stuff, and at the same time, I'm shopping on eBay. So I'm sure if I sell any trains, I'll just end up spending that on trains again anyway. It's funny, I say I'm going to sell some trains, but I'm sitting here looking around at what I have, and I don't think I want to sell any of it. There is a maroon top post-war Trainmaster on the layout back there, and I got that a long time ago. That runs great, but it looks horrible. The maroon top is all speckled, the railings are rusted, there's rust all on the inside, but it runs wonderful. So it's one of those things I wanted to do a complete like restoration, take it all apart, clean it all up, get it to look brand new, and I just don't think that's ever going to happen. So maybe that's the sort of thing I should sell. Anybody interested in a maroon top Lackawanna Trainmaster that looks horrible but runs great? Let me know. All right, well, it's just too humid out here, and after spending all day in a 90+ degree shop, I'm just done. So hopefully I'll get this fire lit under myself and get work done, and I can get just excited to work, because there's a lot I need to do in here, and I want to get going. Maybe this upcoming train show will get me fired up. Maybe the Detroit 3-Railer Trainapalooza event will get me fired up. Well, how could it not? So hopefully, after a little bit of a lull, I can come back at it and just start making some serious progress. So fingers crossed, let's hope that happens. Don't forget, shirts are for sale. If you've purchased one already, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, maybe head on over to Teespring, check it out, and get yourself a t-shirt. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DAGryffyn Hobby.